Just a pre-warning, if people can start thinking of some questions, because we'll wrap this bit up shortly, and it would be great to hear from the audience. We'll travel
I've
however
got one
far.
from Tom.
Oh, go on.
Would you buy a new telehandler if you had unlimited money?
Yeah, 100%. 100%, like the wheels coming off. But it still picks things up and down. And a lot of people mention that the telehandler it's tired, yeah, sorry, but I'm used to loader tractors. And when the loader tractor that was traded in, or didn't trade, swapped it for the telehandler, before then, it didn't have a cab. When I first started loading grass off the cows when I was 15, with the old Keenan at the old farm, we used to grab, and it used to have a shear grab on it. It was an old Nash tractor. If it rained, Dad just had to put a coat on, and then you couldn't grab fully because it would just break the bolts on it. The whatever they're called, shear bolts on the side. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. And that's where you learn. So. People laugh, but that telehandler is so good. It lifts 2 ton. Do you know how much I would have loved to lift 2 ton 8 years ago? It just didn't happen.
Looking around the room, I can see actually really quite a lot of young people, which is fantastic, and I would guess you think it's...
I can't believe it's stood still for so long.
Yeah, I know, don't worry.
We thought you'd have all drifted off after 15 minutes of us rambling.
What would you say to young people who are starting out? If you were starting out again, what's one thing you'd do differently and one thing that you'd keep the same in the kind of businesses that you built? Ollie, start with you.
Someone once said to me, borrow as much money as quick as you can and get going. And I sort of did, but I wish I'd borrowed more, because then when interest rates went up, I could have sold more stuff off and it would have insulated me over the rise. And if interest rates ever come back down, that's what I will do. If you want to get into farming, there's the easy way and the hard way. The hard way is hard work, and the easy way is make money outside and then go and buy a farm, which is pretty much what Clarkson did. But that's the sad reality, really. If you've got talent, you might be better harnessing it elsewhere and having the farm as a hobby, and then being able to invest it back in. Or go to young farmers, make connections, network, get a job, prove that you can do things, prove that you don't break things. Or wreck tyres. I know it keeps these guys in business, but young people, I could drive a tractor, yeah, but you just took the tyre off the back of the trailer because you turned too short, stuff like that. Think about what you're doing, especially with the machinery, and prove that you can do the job and work your way up.
I think I put more dents in your kit than you have in your own.
You actually did. Well, it wasn't you actually damaged the tyre on the fast track, was it?
No, I didn't damage that tyre, no. It was someone else. We were... A tractor broke down, the fast track had the compactor on it, and it did not like that compactor. That was the only thing about the fast tractor. But yeah, and then they shipped the tyre out of it. But you can always buy another one.
So Tom, what are you doing the same? What are you doing differently?
I think the same is I have a very obsessive kind of personality. So I think the same, I quite like that, because when I get into something, I properly get into it, and I wouldn't be where I am now without it. But sometimes it can be like, this is what I am doing, and so it's a kind of double-edged sword, because I'm flat out, this is where we're going. At the same time, I don't really think of anything else, and probably suffered when now a wife, so I've been with her for 11 years. That probably suffered a little bit at the start, because I was like, don't care, this is what I do, I'm cracking on. So probably a little bit of that, but again, I wouldn't be where I am. Like I said, I'm really enjoying where I am now. The past 8 weeks have been hard, but yeah, I'm really happy.
Perfect. Well, I think, does anybody have any questions? Oh, perfect. Oh, I don't want to go to the speaker either, I'm afraid, because I think we'll have a
Have we got a
technology
roving
issue.
mic now?
It's me.
All right.
Sorry, yeah.
We have a question at the back of the room. Let's see if we can wear around like a spaniel throwing a ball.
So, do you want to tell us where you're from and who do you subscribe to first?
So my name's Olly. I live in Pemberton, and so my dad works at Pemberton, and I was just saying, what's your favourite sprayer?
Did everybody hear that? What's Olly's favourite sprayer? And your dad works for Bateman.
He's a plant. It's obviously going to be a British-made Bateman Engineering, mainly for the resale and the backup, because they don't depreciate.
Kelvin Fletcher will be at the Codex
Okay.
stand in Hall 7, stand
Yeah,
464,
no, the beauty
where
is
he will
simple
be
when they go wrong.
launching the
We just
bio
go right.
board for the first
Perfect,
time
great
in
question.
the UK.
Have we got any more?
I do actually.
Perfect. Do you want to just introduce yourself? Do you?
Why you work behind the bar there now?
I'll probably provide that as well. Do you want to introduce yourself and let us know if you subscribe to Tom or Ollie both? Because I'm here for this competition.
I'm Harry, I'm from Gloucester, I work on a dairy farm. I'm subscribed to both Ollie and Tom. Tom, do you have a favourite cow breed? Because I personally love Normandys. My favourite cow is Normandy, and they're very good on milk producers and all this. So, what, do you have a favourite breed?
Yeah, great question. So I love a pretty cow. So someone said to me, you shouldn't breed cows on the way they look, but I have to see them twice a day, every day. So it's nice to look at a pretty cow. I really like the brown Swiss. They're fantastic animals. They graze well. The big cows. They produce a lot of milk on it, and they're really friendly. So we love that on our farm. The only problem is like when the flies start biting, you know about it. You know, I think we used to be an 8-a-side swing over parlour, and I had 8 brown Swiss come in and 5 of them kick units off, and you know you're in for a long milking when that happens. So probably brown Swiss, but they all have their faults.
Good question. Do we have any more? Perfect.
My name's Megan and I'm from Ireland. What's your favourite brand of tractors?
Good question. Favourite brand of tractors, if anybody didn't hear that?
Solid. Oh, this is cool. Now, someone asked me this before. My favourite tractor is a Fendt 724 because it just can do everything. It's so compact but powerful, and it's got one less step than a 900 series Fendt to get in. So when you're in and out of it all day, it's just that bit easier. So I must be getting old. But then I do really want a quad track, and then I did really like the Xerion, but there was profit in it, so I sold it.
Tom?
Probably Ollie's JCB when I borrowed it. It sounds daft, but like I'm never going to have a tractor like that on my farm. So when I had that tractor, it was just comfy. And like my back was great, it was fantastic. The wife could go next to me. It mowed front and side, did brake his front mower. Again, I'm good at braking his kit. But yeah, so probably a JCB. It was great, and I can't believe you sold it. It's disappointing.
Whilst we're on tractors, this has just come to my head. Let's talk about the tractor run, Ollie, because that is a gathering of tractors, but that just doesn't do it justice. It's a charity tractor run, and how much did you raise?
This year we're not as much as last year. I think this year's about 54,000, 75 the year before, 65 the year before that. 43.
Yeah, unbelievable, isn't it? I think farmers, there's quite a bit of press around stuff, isn't there? But what sometimes goes maybe underreported is actually charity things like that. Young farmers are amazing at raising money for charity, and that just shows farmers coming together, doesn't it?
Yeah, so the nice thing about the tractor run is I'd seen it done in the Isle of Man, and I thought we'd do it better in the UK, but I wanted it to have purpose. And everyone rings up going, we want to do a tractor run, we want to raise money. I was like, it's not really about raising money, you need the purpose. So the purpose we have is we go to the Children's Hospital, we go to areas of the city that don't see tractors, we collect for the food bank because we're food producers at the end of the day. The fourth thing we do is raise the money. And I think there's a fine line between being a public nuisance of a lot of tractors on the road and being a spectacle. And I think that's quite important. So if someone thinks about organising a tractor run, try and have more than just the raising money purpose. But everyone was talking about that because it was fresh, but I think the biggest achievement last year was the combine.
Yeah,
That was
absolutely.
amazing.
What started that idea? I mean, if you watch Ollie's channel, you'll have followed it. But what was the motivation?
To raise awareness for mental health. So I lost a friend through suicide nearly 8 years ago, and he had a massive passion for combines, as did I. And the guy that serves as my combine, James, is not here. He's boxing. I've seen him walking around. We decided that I was like, let's do something to raise the awareness, and that was when we came up with the idea of driving one for John and Oak to Land's End. It's a nationwide problem, so we drove the length and breadth of the nation. Some of the people I've met today came out to wave us on, and it was fantastic. The weather was perfect. We saw Britain at the best time. We had an amazing view. Martin knocked the lamppost over. I think he still has his plum jumper if you want a picture with him.
You can't miss him.
But no, it was brilliant, and we're going to do something bigger and better next as well.
There we go. Any more questions? I don't know how much time we have left. Oh, we've got one over here. Would you mind standing over here, just because I think we might have some interference from the speaker?
Oh, and what is going to race two tractors, the Charles and the Scripper tractor?
When are you going to race the tractors?
That's the second person to ask that today. Yeah, no, you need to bring it down, or we'll bring one up and we'll have a pull off.
So if anyone doesn't know, obviously Ollie's got his Solace. I have a Saroma. It's such a better name. And they're both the same kind of power. They're both the same kind of tractor. And it'd be great, that, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Mine's four-wheel drive though, yours isn't it? Yeah.
Right, any more questions? Got one over here. Squeeze over. I didn't know I was doing this roving mic job, so.
My name's Ian. I come from Somerset, and mine's actually for Tom. Do you think it's really unfair how much profit that other companies make from your milk that you supply, and how little you get for it?
100%. And I think obviously we sell ours in a bottle, and then I think 20-30% probably goes to our processing costs, which that milk will go to the supermarkets. And I think it's unreal. So you'll look at like Co-op, which is close to me, and the amount of 2 litres in Co-op is like £1.70. And at the moment, a litre of milk we sell at like 36p. Some people, it varies. I think there's a lot of there's a lot of people making money out of farmers, and it just doesn't seem like we're the start of it. Surely we should be getting, not the most, but we should be getting enough to cover more than costs. To put a contract in that is just so you're covering costs is ridiculous. How are you meant to develop? How are you meant to push forward? If you stand still, you go backwards to a degree. Some years you've got to. Yes, I think it's honestly ridiculous. I can't say any other word for it, and I hate it, and it annoys me. And what annoys me as well is I publish what I do.
He's going to start talking about banks again here, isn't he?
Yeah, I post what I do, and I'm very fortunate to develop how we have developed. But if we didn't have it, we wouldn't be able to. It's because they're taking too much out of it or making it a loss leader. Like, look at the veg. You see the veg over Christmas, 15p for a pack of veg, and the farmer can't even produce it. They don't have a choice. The problem is we don't all get together. But it's so hard to get together and go, right, okay, we're not going to do it, because some people can't not sell their milk in that month, or their veg, or their lambs, because the minute they get that milk check in, it goes out and covers a load of bills. They haven't got the 2 weeks to hold it, and that's the problem. The minute we do hold it, I think that's when supermarkets will take us seriously. And Morrison's are quite good, to be fair to them. They have now a button. I saw it was in the House of Parliament. They have a button to buy British. So if you're shopping online at Morrison's, I know it's a supermarket, I do a farm shop, but it was just interesting. You click that button and you can only buy British food. And I think that's amazing. I think that should be on all supermarket websites, personally.
I would personally be happy to pay more for my milk and the farmer get more. But I think, personally myself, I think it's disgusting what farmers get for what they produce. And that's not just dairy, it's the same for you as well, Ollie.
It's ludicrous that a bottle of water costs more than milk, and that's got a shelf life of 12 months. And to be fair, you could probably still drink it after 3-4 years.
Well, it's not the shelf life of the water, is it? It's the shelf life of the plastic.
Yeah, and it doesn't need refrigerating. You don't need to breed something to make it. You just pump it out of the ground.
I just don't know what the answer is. What do you reckon the answer is to that? What can we?
Better?
There is. But how? How are you going to say to supermarkets, no, we're not doing it? Because they'll just say, we know what it costs, we know what we can do.
Well, AHDB should get their heads together and market milk better. It's the value. The value is perceived, isn't it? So if they can perceive milk to be worth more money, supermarkets would sell it for more, and hopefully that would filter down the chain.
Do you reckon the farmers are just bad at marketing?
Yes.
I answered that question. I know.
Well, they're not marketing, are they? They're selling everything wholesale.
But I think when it comes to farming, we don't have a marketing department, we don't have a HR department. Our time is consumed making sure the cows are milked or making sure that field gets drilled, at the right time. So for us to try and put our expertise, bearing in mind we already need to know what drugs and drug rates we give our animals, we need to know what rate we're drilling, we need to know how to fix something, how to use the computers. To market our stuff as well actually is really difficult on an individual basis, and hats off to people like Tom who have got that diversification and the team behind them. But
Tom's already doing it. He's directly marketing his milk, and he's adding the value out putting it into milkshakes. We AHDB take money off every single farmer for every single pint of milk, every single ton of grain, to develop the industry and market it better. And it's up to us to tell them to do that and to push them in the right direction.
I think you're right, because individually we're not going to manage it, and there is too much milk, food, whatever to shift for us all to have a farm shop, as much as it would be an idyllic thought for us all to be buying in that way. But I think you're right, it's about farmers getting together, and these organisations do exist, but they can't work without us pushing them as levy payers or members.
Or legislation, but what government wants to come in and say, we're going to make it mandatory that everyone's got to pay more for the food, it's never going to happen.
Anyway, that's really quite heavy. So, I mean, very realistic in what we need to be talking about. But we've probably got time for a couple more questions. So, are there any more? Or maybe there aren't. Yes, of course. Sorry, I didn't want to come near this.
Tom, the price of milk these days, I mean, how can you contemplate the price of water? Water costs more than milk does. So, where are we going from there? Can we make it
To
more
Lamma
interesting
Live
to younger
for a
people
panel
to
discussion
drink milk rather than water?
on agricultural trailers on the public highway. Is it time for trailer tests and licensing? Taking place in Hall 18.
So what can we do if anyone wants a trailer test? You know what to do. So what can we do to market milk instead of water? I think again there was so much, like we were chatting before. You make a bad video and there's 100 farmers and there might be one bad one, and unfortunately there is. You go in any industry, you go into schools, there'll be a bad teacher, but that makes the headlines, doesn't it? And again, 10, 15 years ago, maybe even a bit less than that, there'll be videos of a farmer doing things they should not be doing, and then the newer generation kind of went off milk and they were like, oh, we're not going to drink this anymore, we're going to drink almond milk, or we're going to drink oat milk, which is absolutely ridiculous. Because the amount of stuff in it, if you actually look at the ingredients in it. And I think that's what happened. There was a bad marketing, no one was chatting about it, no one was going thing, and everyone thought this is what farmers do, and then they were to red tractor assured, and they forgot about the red tractor. How to market it, just everyone keep doing what they're doing. And the other thing, what I think we do in our industry, and there's Farm 24, and I mentioned it on the day of Farm 24, we are really good at telling each other what we're doing. And like I think Farm 24, not to pick them out of it, but I just mentioned it. Why don't they tag? You have to at least tag one person that you know is not in the industry. Do you know what I mean? That's the way to do it, because then they go and have a look at it and they go, oh wow, that's amazing. These guys are doing great things. I think there is Zoe, the chief shepherdess. We chatted about this on your podcast, and I think she's fantastic. She has a massive following away from farmers. So when she posts stuff, she really has a great reach. So she speaks like Greg James on Radio 1, which is amazing. And I think that's a big thing we need to do. Start branching out of it. So I want to see the NFU. Are the NFU here?
Yeah, they're by the quad track.
How big's the stand?
Pretty big, actually.
Yeah, so I don't like that. Sorry, NFU. God, I'll tell you what, someone's put 2p in there. I think they should be in the, they should be at the NEC, but at the Food Innovation Day or show, and the flower show, the NFU, they should be pushing it there. There's no point in having a big stand here. I'm so sorry. I'm
gonna bring you in because we've got time for one more question, and I want you to be able
Can
to
I just say, did they still give you milk in primary school? Because when I was a kid, we used to have milk in the morning, and it was always warm, and you're like, ooh. Stop.
So, what's your name and what's your question?
Frankie. This is for Tom. When are you going to do a series 3 of Fast and the Furious?
That is a great question. I did hear that they are in a little bit of talks about it. We'll just see what happens. If I'm honest with you, we don't know, but there are whispers.
Ooh, you might have to keep your eyes peeled. Well, what a good way to finish there, I guess, potentially with Tom's blossoming TV career. But I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who's joined. I know these guys are amazing, but I can't believe you guys have all stuck around. It's pretty impressive, and I think it is a credit to the time.
I said yesterday, I said, do you think people are going to stand there for an hour and listen to us? There's so much to say, and I'm just really shocked. I'm a bit overwhelmed. To be
No,
honest.
it's a credit to the time that you put into your channels, and it's a real extension of farming for people who are either on farms or maybe spend a lot of time on their own. So a real credit to you two. I just want to say another thank you to Kirby Tyres for having us on the stand today, and I hope you have a good rest of today and tomorrow at Lamma. If you want to come and have a chat with Tom and ask him anything that his wife would allow, if you can kind of queue on this side here, and it'll be feeding rounds kind of there, but I'm not in control of the crowd, so don't quote me on that. But I think we should just give Tom and Ollie a massive round of applause for their time.